Can you believe this shit, man? You've probably seen it. My analysis of this, it's not particularly novel. I just can't believe it. I talked a little bit about it back when it was only a plan, but the paving of the Rose Garden, you know, the Rose Garden, the garden by the White House, been there for like hundreds of years, you know, and how they paved over it, and now it looks like this. Just incredible. For the drains to be the American flag, so representative. Yeah, he hates you. He hates you, dude. He hates your ass. You vote for a parking lot president, you get a parking lot at the White House. Starting to see how he went bankrupt so many times? Yeah, maybe. Doesn't seem to matter. Is the planned extension to the White House real? This one? Grok says this one isn't real. But the underlying truth? Yes. Where's the actual project plans? Oh, here it is. 1 second. Let me find the actual project plans. Here's a mock-up of the inside. This gaudy Versailles bullshit. There we go. An expansion of the East Wing. Incredibly, destroying the, or I suppose further marring the symmetry of the building, you know? Phenomenal stuff, really. I'm not even American. I feel a little sting about this. Well, listen, it's the century of, the American century of humiliation, okay? The whole point is for it to be a humiliation ritual. You have to watch them, they, you know, pave over the Rose Garden, put a gigantic, ugly, golden banquet hall in there. Why not? Why not? He's really acting like he'll never leave the White House? Oh, who gives a shit? You think this could last a whole century? Of course. Could last longer than a century. The White House is one of the most beautiful and historic buildings in the world. Yet the White House is currently unable to host major functions honoring world leaders in other countries without having to install a large and unsightly tent approximately 100 yards away from the main building entrance. The White House State Ballroom will be a much-needed and exquisite addition of approximately 90,000 total square feet of ornately designed and carefully crafted space, with a seating capacity of 650 people, a significant increase from the 200-person seating capacity of the East Room of the White House. You really understand why he bankrupted casinos when you see this stuff? You know, I just want to be clear, because it's the second time I've seen this in chat. You guys know that Trump bankrupting his businesses doesn't mean he's a bad businessman, right? The problem is that it's often profitable to bankrupt businesses. This is what private equity does. When Trump acquires a business or a property or whatever, and then it goes under, he gets to, like, sell it for scrap. It's not, like, to his interest. Like, it's destructive to the businesses that he owns, but it's not necessarily bad business for him. It's just it's ruinous. People propagate this narrative that Trump's a bad businessman. He's objectively not a bad businessman. It's just that being a good businessman means destroying things for personal gain. It's just, that's the point. It's still an argument against him. President Trump and other patriot donors have generously committed to donating the funds necessary to build this approximately $200 million structure. He is, if you stiff your contractors and never live up to your contracts, you're a bad businessman. I think that actually objectively makes you a good businessman in the sense that you're doing a good job of being a businessman. Not a good businessman in the sense that you're a moral one, you know. You're not good in like a you're going to heaven kind of way. Like how they're justifying the addition here as well, like very defensively. The White House Ballroom will be substantially separated from the main building of the White House, but at the same time, its theme and architectural heritage will be almost identical. The site of the new ballroom will be where the small, heavily changed and reconstructed East Wing currently sits. The East Wing was constructed in 1902 and has been renovated and changed many times, with a second story added in 1942. Very good. And then we have a quote from White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. Very, very good. Substantially the same. Jesus. Would this be so bad if it actually looked good? I think it's probably like fair to criticize the prescience of the White House building a gigantic golden banquet hall off of private funding at the same time as they've taken 17 million Americans off of healthcare. I don't know. It's just a little, it's just a little bit on the nose. It will also look like ass. Have you seen what Trump's done to the Oval Office? You know what Trump despises? Trump despises wood. A huge part of the like neoclassical you know, American 18th century, early 19th century fixtures is you have a like, you know, rich mahogany. You have like the gold accents are pretty minimal for the most part. You have a pretty like tasteful, I think, arrangement, but Trump despises that shit. Everything has to be white and gold all the time. It's all Dubai shit. I don't know. Labubu White House? Yeah, essentially. I guess it's been getting a little worse over time. You take a look at like, wow, that's a tiny photograph. Basically anything from inside the White House, you know, it's the White House. There's a lot of white, but there's a lot of dark trim too. I don't know. You can see what Trump's done with the Oval Office and all the gold bullshit he's put around everything. There's an aesthetic distinction that I don't respect. Hot take, I don't think Trump is good at interior design, but what do I know? Of course, to my mind, there's a lot of stuff in the White House that I don't like anyway, aesthetically speaking, because so many of the founding fathers were still like cucked to the idea of royalty. The idea of being, they wanted to be like some like pseudo-democratic pastoral aristocracy, you know? Alexander Hamilton didn't want there to be a limit to a presidential term. You know, he wanted Washington to be president for life, and for all presidents to be president for life. Why the f do the chairs look like this? That's a goddamn British monarchy chair right there. Okay, I think you should convey state power, not like regal authority. But whatever. Un-American chairs, unironically, yeah. Americans have no independent sense of culture. We are the cultural mega producers of the world. Okay, you just don't really see it when you look at our wealthy or our powerful. Hip-hop, exactly. They should fill the White House with hip-hop chairs. I feel like sometimes people get the impression America has no culture. People who say America has no culture, it's like when a fish saying they don't know what water is, you know? Yeah, you don't see the culture because you're swimming in it. You have no idea. Literally, like, from the clothes you wear to the music you listen to the movies you watch, like, you are swimming in American culture. It's just ubiquitous, so you think of it as invisible. America has lots of culture like Chinese food. Yeah, you think that's a joke, but American Chinese food is totally distinct from Chinese food. Yeah, capitalism isn't an ideology ass point. Do you think places like the White House should be at least a little opulent? I think that you can do opulent without doing like British royalty. When I think American opulence, I think of like, I don't know, the Rockefeller Center, you know? I think of like 19th century robber baron, like urban industrial wealth. I think of railroads. I think of clock towers. I think of, mahogany and oak. You know, I think of like this sturdy, stately power. That's what I think of when I think of Art Deco. No, that's a different thing. I didn't say Art Deco. I would listen, okay? If they redid DC and put the White House up Art Deco style, that'd be great. But I didn't say Art Deco. That's a totally different thing. I said 19th century. You're thinking 20. You think the Rockefeller brutalism? No, that's a different thing. The Rockefeller Center is literally Art Deco? Yeah, I guess so. I guess maybe I'm not... I feel like I was trying to convey other elements of its design, but whatever. Art Nouveau? You guys are just saying words. You mean secular cathedrals like old American train stations? Yeah, to an extent, I do think that. That's what I think that is uniquely American. I don't think that looks... There's nothing else in the world that looks quite like that, you know? Like Carnegie Hall? Yeah, like Carnegie Hall. Thank you. We'll go with that. No, Art Nouveau is practicing biomimicry. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying that's not it. Isn't the modern boxy style something that started here too? Modern boxy style? You're gonna have to refine your terminology a bit. I mean, you really don't want this? No, I think this looks awful. This is the most British, which is the House of Lords, so of course it is. But even if you just look at the building, it is the most British building in the world. There's no business being in like an American seat of power. Old Penn Station? Old Penn Station still had like a neoclassical bent. I don't respect neoclassicism. Have you seen Tower City? Okay, you guys now, once again, as is always the case, now you're just talking about buildings you like. I don't give a shit what buildings you like. I'm trying to make a point. You're just people out here talking about Art Nouveau. You brutalism? You're just mentioning shit you like. I get it. You don't know architecture. You're familiar with like one or two buildings or styles. I understand. I'm talking about a specific thing, okay? Good lord. Everyone keeps bringing up 20th century styles and it's annoying. Yeah. Cincinnati Union Station? Oh, you mean the Justice Gang headquarters? Dog, that's literally that's the Super Friends / Justice League / Justice Gang headquarters. That's crazy. Beautiful building. Hall of Justice. There you go. Why is that in Ohio? You know, back when trains were a real thing, Ohio used to mean something. Now it's Rizzler that and Gyat this, but there used to be meaning there. And JD Vance that. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose.